لا يناله غوص الفطن ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا وشفيع ذنوبنا سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين صاحب العصر والزمان خليفة الرحمن إمام الإنس والجان ولعن الله أعداهم أجمعين إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد فقد قال الله وقوله الحق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this blessed opportunity once again as we are now entering the month of Allah, the month of the glorious month of Ramadan. On a personal note, I am grateful and I appreciate the entire team at PSV in Melbourne, Australia, at the Pajadan Society of Victoria, who have allowed me now to spend the next 2 weeks with all of you. It would have been ideal for me, as I said in the intro video, for me to be there in person, to once again revisit and see old faces and make new and meet new ones. It's been several years since I have been there in Melbourne, and my time that I came a few Ramadans ago was beautiful. But unfortunately the situation is such that we are not able to travel. So this is our best format that we will use in the next 2 weeks that I'm with all of you, inshallah. You know, we think about those individuals who are with us last month of Ramadan and who are no longer with us this month of Ramadan, and we have to always be in the state of gratefulness and gratitude that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has once again invited us to this banquet, this feast, where He is the host and we are His guests. And as an introductory discussion on the importance of the month of Ramadan, and this being a new Ramadan, really, where we, of course, are in isolation, we are in seclusion, we are quarantined, our places of worship are closed. The regular routine of a communal month of Ramadan, where we come, we have some ibadat, some dua, some salat, we break some bread with our fellow brothers and sisters, and then we go home. That routine, of course, this year will change. And while that aspect of the month of Ramadan is so important, I think the silver lining in this new quote-unquote month of Ramadan is the fact that we have a golden opportunity through the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to truly strengthen our family ties. And I wanted to spend this first opening discussion laying the groundwork for the right approach into the month of Ramadan. The topic that I have in mind, inshallah, we will begin tomorrow. But tonight, however, it's important that we are entering this month of Ramadan with a proper mindset. And perhaps there are no better words than that of our Holy Prophet, who in his last khutbah, very famous khutbah of the month of Sha'ban, he has a beautiful way of describing the arrival of the month of Ramadan. He says, Ya ayyuhan nas. Okay, so it doesn't address just the believers or anybody else. He actually says all of mankind. Right? He says, إنه قد أقبل عليكم شهر الله بالبركات ورحمة ومغفرة. That now here on the verge now, in front of you, moving towards you now, welcoming you is this month of Allah. This month filled with barakats and rahmat and maghfirah, with blessings, with mercy and forgiveness. It's interesting to note that he initially uses the word aqbala. Aqbala, qabala, qabul, maqbul, istiqbal. All these various variations of the root word qabala is important in the sense that he's trying to make us understand that this is a two-way street between us and the month of Ramadan. Yes, The month of Ramadan has arrived, but are we there now to welcome this month of Ramadan, right? You know, there's a word in Farsi and in Urdu, I think it's Arabic as well, it's called istiqbal. Right? Istiqbal is when you welcome somebody. Like if I was to fly into Melbourne, my host, whoever it is, will be there at the airport to do my istiqbal, to welcome me, to pick me up, to take me wherever I'm staying. Istiqbal is a two-way street. I have to arrive in Melbourne for istiqbal to occur. He has to come to the airport to pick me up for istiqbal to occur. Meaning if I arrive and no one is there, or they arrive and I don't make my flight, there is no istiqbal. Istiqbal, to welcome something or to meet something or to accept something, is a two-way street. Okay, so here the Holy Prophet is saying what? إِنَّهُ قَدْ أَقْبَلَ عَلَيْكُمْ شَهْرُ اللَّهِ. This is now a month of Allah that has now coming towards you. It's moving towards you. Are you now, what? Are you welcoming it? Are you equally moving towards it or not? Again, using the word qabala, you know, sometimes it's a little bit of a different discussion, but sometimes, you know, our heart goes through fluctuations, right? Sometimes it goes through iqbal, sometimes it goes through idbar. Right? Imam Khomeini rahmatullah alayhi, in his adab al-salat, in his etiquettes of prayer, in his book, he talks about the presence of the heart and mentions how the heart goes through its faraz and nashib, its valleys and peaks. That sometimes that fluctuating heart inside of us actually runs towards the musalla for the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is in a state of iqbal. It's actually accepting the worship of Allah. It actually is craving the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But sometimes the heart goes through idbar. Sometimes it is the fact that it has to be kind of pushed and motivated and kind of convinced to go on the musalla and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this month of Allah, this usage of the verse in the khutbah of Rasulullah in the last Friday of Sha'aban is telling us that this is not only a month of Allah that now has arrived on our calendar, but it is a month of Allah that's arrived that should now be taken into our hearts. That should be what? Qabool, that should be accepted. When now we are running towards the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in these dark times, in these times of a pandemic, in these times of anxiety and the unknown and fear, perhaps this Ramadan will be that solution for us, that salvation for us, that sense of itminan and serenity for us that we've been craving now for the past 5, 6, 7 weeks of this pandemic. And so my first point to all of you on this opening lecture, is to, just laying the grounds for the month of Ramadan first, is the fact that let's now move towards the month of Ramadan. And I don't just mean hanging up a few things on the wall, or I don't mean, for example, cooking something and freezing it so it's ready for iftar. No, that, of course, is there, right? Making sure you go to groceries and everything. I think what's more important is this idea and the concept that our hearts are ready for it. Our hearts are softened for it. The world is looking for some light right now. It's a lot of us who are anxious. We have no idea what tomorrow will bring. A lot of us have lost our jobs, right? We don't know what tomorrow will look like in terms of us financially as a family. Right? And along comes this month of Ramadan where Allah says, look, there's blessings in this month. There's forgiveness in this month. There's compassion and love in this month. Right? And the khutbah goes on to say, right, أنفاسكم فيه تصبيح ونومكم فيه عبادة. That your breathing is the glorification of Allah, it's the tasbih of Allah. Your sleep, your noam is what? Ibadah, is worship of Allah. This is the month where your amal are qabool, your du'as are qabool, everything is ready, right? It's du'itum. Allah has now invited us, right? Where? Diyafatillah, this banquet, this davat, this invitation where we are the guests and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the host. Now, does that mean that our sleep is different? Does that mean that we're breathing different? All of a sudden now my breath is what? Is the tasbih of Allah. All of a sudden my sleep that I've been sleeping all my life, all of a sudden now the sleep now becomes ibadah. Is my sleep different? Is my breathing different? Am I taking longer breaths? No. What the Holy Prophet is trying to tell us, that because your wujud and your existence and your entire being now is in the form of the worship of Allah, any action that your body might do in that state of worship now becomes the glorification of Allah, the tasbih of Allah, the ibadat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because remember, of the furu'idin that we have, the 10 furu'idin, the 10 branches of the religion that we have, Fasting is one of them that does not have an outward look to it. Okay? Meaning, for example, when somebody prays salat, there's a physical dimension to it. They're bowing, they're prostrating, they're standing, they're doing qunut, they're doing tashahud. You can see physically with your eyes a person is praying. When someone goes to Hajj, they're physically doing tawaf, physically doing sa'i, walking towards Muzdalifah, for example. Okay? Even when somebody is giving khums, that giving khums is a physical transaction. But fasting isn't like that. Fasting is a very, very hidden, deep-rooted act of worship that nobody can tell. If you walk into someone's house, they have no idea you're fasting or not fasting. It's not written on your foot, I am fasting. Right? So it's a very, very personal, internal, God-centric act of worship. Right? That's why when the Quran describes كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ, that look, fasting has been written for you, has been prescribed, has become wajib on you, just like those before you. So why لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ? So you could become the pious ones. Why is it then our sleep, our breathing, it's actually mustahab to sleep during the month of Ramadan? Why is that? I just want to spend a few minutes on that. I don't want to make this initial discussion too long. I have a timer here in front of me. I don't want to, go over too long. I want to make sure it's within about 25 to half an hour, tops. It's difficult, after you've opened your fast now and you're listening to a speech, you're tired from a very long day of fasting. A lot of you work during the month of Ramadan. It's very difficult, but it is important that we understand why is it that now all of a sudden my everyday actions have become tasbih and ibadah and all these things that sound glorious. And sometimes our youth doubt that. Like, how can me sitting there breathing be a tasbih of Allah? Remember one thing. The act of fasting is an act that we're talking about. Your entire soul now is hakim over your body. That same body now, that when it's hungry, it tells you, I'm hungry. When it tells you, I'm thirsty, you go and you quench its thirst. The same body now will tell you during the month of Ramadan that I am hungry and I am thirsty. The difference is that the soul now, it gains taqwiyat, it gains strength from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the most beautiful things of this month is that somehow our soul, that the same soul that sometimes succumbs to the physical pleasures and physical desires of our body throughout the year, in this month of Ramadan, it is the opposite, where now the soul now overpowers the body. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, at the height of that fasting, when the body is screaming for a drop of water, the soul now comes. Even though you have ample opportunity to drink a glass of water, nobody will even see. Nobody is home. You're home by yourself. You're in the office, let's say, for example. You're on your way back from home from school or from work. Let's say, for example, if you're going to the office nowadays and you're not there, there's a nice cold bottle of water in your cup holder and you're driving, nobody can see you. Open the bottle, drink it. No one's going to say a word to you because they haven't seen you. Do you do it? No, we don't do it. At that moment, the only thing that matters is that my soul is saying, don't do it. You are in line with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning your entire existence. Everything now is in tune with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So naturally, the everyday actions of your body now have a different tone to them, a different color to them, a different dimension to them now. Now, because your existence level is at the level of worshiping of Allah. Every small day, everyday things that we do from breathing to sleeping now has a completely different feeling of it altogether. Your breathing is tasbih, your sleep is ibadah. It's beautiful. And it's not like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a little bit extra, or no. The reason why this month is such a beautiful month for so many reasons. One of them is the fact that Allah simply wants to show us for 30 days, for 20 days, for 21 days, however long you fast in the month of Ramadan, Allah wants to show you that all those other months of the year that you thought you couldn't do, whatever it is, I'm showing you in this month of Ramadan that all of these capabilities, all the potential, all the capacity lies within you. Think about it for a moment. Now all of you are, you're right now in your winter time here in Australia. And part of the reason why I love coming to Australia in the month of Ramadan because it's a shorter fast. In fact, when Irfan Bhai calls me and says, Maulana, can you come to Australia for Ramadan? It's winter time here. Iftar is a little bit quicker. I think, oh, okay, that's a great motivation to come. I want you to imagine now. You come home, let's say. Now this year it's different, but in previous years, those of you who frequent the center, you go every single day to PSV. You go, let's say, for example, open your iftar, pray your salat, dua iftatah, Quran circles. And then you have a speech. And you're home by what, 9, 10 o'clock? By the time you go to bed, it's close to 11, maybe 12. Some of you a little bit night owls. Night owls. Then you wake up in the middle of the night, half an hour before Fajr. You have a little bit of food, a little bit of dua, some ibadah. You read Fajr, you might go back to sleep, wake back up, start your day in terms of work and school, work the entire day. In the evening now, once you're done from school and work, you have an hour and a half to yourself. Get ready, shower, then begin your evening commute to the center. And you do that for 30 days. And in between, by the way, a lot of Quran being read, in between the TV is off, in between a lot of these lectures here and there, all these things that for every month of the year you had no time for, now all of a sudden the same 24 hours, but you're spending it wisely. Why? Again, because you are involved in a God-centric act of worship, where the core of the core of the core is worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not the outward. Yes, you have pains of hunger that are physical. It doesn't have a physical dimension to it like Salat does, or like Hajj does, for example. Okay? So this is a golden opportunity. Now, on top of that, we have a pandemic going on. So now we're at home. So now our sehri and suhoor at home with our kids and our spouses and our siblings and our parents. And iftar every night at home with our siblings and our parents and our spouses and our children. Okay? Which means 30 days of meals. Right? Which hopefully means that my husbands in the audience are helping out at home. If you are not able to cook, you can cut, can't you? You can clean at least. You can do everything but the actual frying and the cooking and the mixing and whatever the case may be. Hopefully now, this is really now where you step up as a husband and a man, where now it truly is a family affair for the month of Ramadan. The kids are setting the table, you're helping your wife in the kitchen, right? Or maybe the wife is helping you in the kitchen, inshallah, I hope. Whatever the case may be. Right? Two things I want to mention tonight about this, addressing and entering this month of Ramadan, this year specifically, where it's a brand new month of Ramadan now. We're going to be home for 30 straight days, 29 straight days. And a lot of us, I grew up, for example, looking forward to the month of Ramadan all my whole life because of that communal aspect. I am attached, even today, to my community, very much so. And so going there every single day, having some ibadat, having some socializing, some food, and then some tea afterwards. It's such a beautiful arena. But all of that now is where? Is inside the four walls. So that same passion, that same vigor, everything else that you had in the four walls of PSV, bring that inside of your homes now. If that means that you would run to the center to be part of the Quran circle, establish your own Quran circle inside of your homes. If that means it's you and your wife, you and your spouse, you and your husband, you and your parents, you and your sibling, or you and the entire family, then so be it. Everyone reads 2 or 3 verses. If possible, a little tafsir, a little discussion. If not, tirabat, that's fine. But this is the month that we cultivate a relationship with the Quran. Not just recite it. We should be able to now look at translations, understand some themes. Inshallah, when I get to my topic tomorrow, you'll understand what I want to talk about in these next 2 weeks. But it is important initially that one of the things that we do is that we now bring all that passion from the PSV 4 walls to our 4 walls in our own house. And you have your mini community, 4 of you, 5 of you, 8 of you, however many there are inside your home, and you have that same level of passion and programming and everything. Such that after the month of Ramadan now, you are now able now to strengthen yourself as a family. Okay? It's vital that we do that. The second point that I want to make is that when we look at the life of Imam Rada alayhi salatu wasalam, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. Imam Rada lived for 55 years. Okay? 20 of them he was in Mashhad in Iran when he was an Imam. The first 35 years he was in Medina. His father, Imam Qadim alayhi salam, was alive, was the Imam of the time. During those 35 years, which is very seldom that we have anything in our books about what he did in Medina, we do know from history that he actually spent some time in the Holy Prophet's mosque. And he did what? He would give dars, classes. One such discussion inside of the life of Imam Rada, one such discussion is on the importance of community building. Okay, community building. Inside community building, he mentions several points of what are the characteristics and the qualities of a very, very strong community. Okay, the first thing he mentions is cleanliness, to be clean. Okay, the number one sign, the first sign at least, of a very successful community in the eyes of Imam Rada is to be clean. Now, that cleanliness could be an outward, a zahir, an exoteric taharat, or it could be an esoteric taharat, or a batin, or an internal taharat. Either way, this is the month of Allah, that we are now inside of our homes, right? And we're going to now open our fast together. And I'm personally, as much as I would love to be there with you right now, I'm excited to be with my family in the next 30 days. To truly travel towards Allah together. Okay? Now back to Imam Rada, and I'll get to that in a moment. Back to Imam Rada for a moment. He says cleanliness. So number one, we're not only talking about spring cleaning, going through your drawers and going through your closets and all. That's also very important. Trust me, when we go through some of our own spring cleaning inside of my house, I feel light in terms of the soul. Right? When you see white space and you see hangers and that don't have clothes on them, it feels good. But more importantly, this is the month where we go through an internal cleansing. The cleanliness of what? Of the heart as well. The community that we have at PSV right now is not accessible. We bring that community inside the four walls. Right now, your community is your four walls. Nothing else. Okay? If that means that we still apply the same aspects and factors that Imam Rada has, then so be it. If that means that if you have anger issues, you address those anger issues. Like, as much as it's great to be with your family, there are some families right now out there that are having a very difficult time being home all day, every day, for the past few weeks. Because there's abuse in that household. There's anger issues in that household. Disrespect, no talking, no communication, no love. 5 members of the family, but 5 roommates they live like, everyone in their own respective corners. There's no meals together, there's no Jamaat prayer together, there's no communication, there's no love, there's no laughter, there's nothing. On top of that, there's physical abuse, verbal abuse, God forbid, every day, all day long. If you are someone right now that is the Fir'aun and the Pharaoh of your house, I humbly ask you, this is the month now where you check yourself, look inside yourself, cleanse yourself, as Imam Rada says, to make sure that your community, which by the way you're the leader of, moves towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, this is the month for that. Right? Inshallah, when we open up the topic of Surah Hujurat, inshallah, from tomorrow we will begin discussing the 18 verses of Surah Hujurat. There are an immense amount of lessons, but inshallah tomorrow I want to introduce my topic. Tonight, however, I just want to make sure I set the grounds for myself, for all of you, entering this beautiful month of Allah. Right? I want to see Jamaat prayer inside of your home. The men should be leading Jamaat prayer. Let's move away from the idea that, a ma'asum has to come and lead Jamaat. No. If you are a male inside of your home, you are baligh, you do your best to be pious inside the home, then you should be leading at least one salat every single day, ba Jamaat, with your spouse and with your children. Okay. Even if you are an only parent, a single mom inside the home, if there are no other baligh men inside of your home, including your own sons, you can lead Jamaat for you and for the sisters inside your home and for the non-baligh boys as well. Nothing wrong with that. We have to shy away from that. As Shias, we've kind of moved away from the Jamaat prayer. We think that only the Imam, a ma'asum, infallible. No, not the case. There's so much barakat. And all of you now moving towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 2, have a Quran circle. A very quick Quran circle. Not 5 or 6 or 7, 8 ayats. 1, 2 ayat. That's it. You read 2, you read 2, you read 2. You watch as the family strengthens together. And finally, please open iftar together. Sit at the table. Read your dua before your iftar. Remember those who are sick and poor. Give sadaqah and charity. You know how many families now in the East, for example, in our own India, Pakistan, right, who are suffering right now. They're on complete lockdown. So many families that I know rely on that day's work to feed the family for that day. When that day's work is locked down, there's no food coming inside the house. Now, how are they going to open their fast? I don't know. So 3 or 4 things I want to recommend to you in the Intimasadua. Number 1 is the idea of a Jamaat, prayer inside your home. Establish that, please. Number 2 is a small mini Quran circle. 1 of you, 2 of you, 5 of you. Number 3 is opening iftar, the entire family iftar together at the table with the du'as. Eat, mashallah, enjoy yourself. This is the month where now you get closer to Allah through your families. And finally, give sadaqah, give sadaqah, give sadaqah. Charity. Donate to these funds. If you know somebody on the ground in India, Pakistan, send them some money if you can. Especially us who live in the West, sometimes we have it very easy. Yes, we're on lockdown. Yes, we're secluded, but our fridge is full, our pantry is full. We have access to those things that other people don't have. We have, an abundance sometimes of things in our basement, in our closets, in our garages, in terms of food. Other people live day by day by day. Imagine now fasting all day in that heat, working all at home now, and not having anything for iftar come salat time. We can help them. If this is a month of barakat as the Prophet describes, then that barakah will come back to you tenfold. I'll end with one hadith in the Intimasadua, and that is the Holy Prophet describing the people of the heavens and the people of the earth. Beautiful hadith, and with this inshallah, and then Intimasadua. He says that sometimes the people of the earth look up to the sky and they see a night filled with stars. If you go north enough where there is no pollution and smog and all that, you can see a beautiful sky of stars. He says the people of the ard, the people of the earth look up to the sky and there's thousands of stars. But the eye goes towards where? The eye, it gravitates towards the brightest of stars. The bright ones are the ones that catch your eye. He says the same way that the people of the earth look up to the sky is the same way the people of the sky look down onto earth. And where the people of the earth see stars shining in the night sky, the people of the sky see homes cultivated inside of the earth. And just like the brightness of the star is gravitated by the people of the earth, the brightness of the homes are gravitated by the people of the sky. Now, what is it that adds to the brightness of a home for the people of the sama and the sky? One of them is the Quran. The Quran is read, Allah is remembered, respect and love is given. That's a bright home. The people of the earth, heavens, look down upon and say, this is the house that I'm gravitating towards. I ask you humbly as your brother and your son, let's illuminate our homes this month of Ramadan. We are inside of our homes, but it doesn't mean we can't get close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Imam Ali describes his wife, Sayyidah Fatima Zahra salamun alayhima, as what? As that woman who is the best travel companion on the way towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The best hamsafar on the journey towards Allah. I ask all of your family, the 4 of you, the 5 of you, the 2 of you, the 9 of you, to please move towards Allah this Ramadan, together as one family, led by the man of your house, the husband and the father, with the hopes that inshallah, at the end of 30 days of this journey towards Allah, we are ready and worthy of the Imam's arrival. We ask you, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to accept our qaleel ibadat. Inshallah, we're entering the month of you, Allah. Forgive our sins, accept our amal, give us tawfiq to benefit from this month to the best of our ability. And finally, Allah, everything that we do for the arrival of your hujjah. We ask you, Allah, make us worthy of Imam Zaman al-Zuhur and allow us as a family to stand beside him.